everyone. This is intended to be a tutorial for those of you who are looking for a little bit more support in how to find things on Blackboard for a class that is now essentially all online. I have tried to streamline it as much as possible. I have taught online classes before, so I'm kind of familiar with what to do to make things easily accessible to students, but it is a little bit different having to switch gears midway through. I definitely would have things organized a little differently initially. So what I've tried to do is make things super easy for you all to find while also not shifting up the things that we had already had on Blackboard, for instance, the journal entries. So I'm going to take you through how to navigate the course now with the new update. So first, let's look over on the left side. You'll see there are a few new tabs. The first one is titled Class Change FAQs. I'm going to click on that here. And this is some important information that I'm updating in real time. Most of the time I will embed and have a PDF attached for updates for the class. In this case, I'm just embedding it because I want to be able to edit it in real time. So you'll notice here there's all sorts of answers to questions that I'm getting a lot. So for instance, about the group presentations, we're not doing them. How to submit the group project, some questions about what lectures will look like, some questions about individual speeches, and then some questions about how the points are going to be a little bit different. So there's answers to all of these questions in that link there. So take a look at that if you haven't already. Next, if you look at syllabus and schedule, so that link has always been there, but the documents here are new. So I've updated your point breakdown, I've also updated the weekly schedule, and I've updated the assignment checklist. These are all updated this week. Well, I guess you could be watching this anytime. I'm assuming you're watching this the week of the 16th, perhaps the week of the 23rd. But these have all been updated, and you'll see anything that I've updated, I'll make a note of it so that we're all clear and we're all on the same page. For the point breakdown, what I went ahead and did is I highlighted the assignments that were altered. So some of these things you've already submitted, so it didn't change. But the ones that are highlighted in yellow, you'll see I have done a strike through for what was previously on the point breakdown and then added the new updates in there. So you'll see like the group presentations, we're not doing them. The individual speech, you're not presenting it orally in class, you're presenting it. It says via Zoom. What we'll probably end up doing is doing recorded speeches via YouTube. I'll talk all about that in another update. And there's some point differences that you'll notice. So those are the changes there. The class does still add up to 1,000 points. Next, the weekly schedule, and all of these documents I've uploaded, you can download them as PDFs as well as view them here on Blackboard. Next is the weekly schedule. You'll see instead of broken down by day, we're now just broken down by week. Our weeks will start on Sunday and end on Saturday, so we can maintain the same schedule of having journal entries due on Saturday night. Those journal entries will still be due. There have been a couple updates to the deadlines for them, especially during this 2-week period. Make sure you take a look at those. You'll see each week it'll talk about what we should read that week, what we'll be covering, and then what's due that week with the date and the time stamp that it's due. You'll see those updates here. I've tried to remain as consistent as possible through all of this. But if there are changes, make sure you're making note of those. The last thing I have here is the assignment checklist. I went ahead and got rid of any of the assignments you've already submitted and just included things yet to be submitted here. You'll see all of these here with the update to the points and updates to deadlines if those exist. All right, so those are all available under syllabus and schedules. The next thing that is really important to draw your attention to is this tab here called Weekly Class Materials. So this is where all of your materials are going to be moving forward. So if I click on this, you'll see week 10, which is the week of the 22nd through the 28th. That'll be our first week back from break. What you'll notice here is that it has an outline of what we're going to be doing that week. And when you click on the folder, you'll see at the top, at the start of every week, at the top of that folder, there will always be an outline that has instructions about what we're going to be doing that week, what you should read, what you should watch in terms of the recorded lectures, and then what's due and when it's due. And then up here at the top, I'll have any other instructions or information that's important for you for that week. So we're going to treat this class as a week-by-week, with a week-by-week approach. So for this one thing I want you to be really careful of, something people sometimes struggle with, is on Blackboard, make sure that you're scrolling all the way to the bottom of whatever folder I have, because oftentimes, especially when you're pulling it up on a mobile app, you might only see the first document that's up there with them embedded like this. So make sure you're always scrolling down. I haven't finished uploading video lectures to this folder quite yet, and that's coming. I just thought it would be helpful to get this tutorial on Blackboard as quickly as possible, so that those of you who are feeling a little bit anxious about the online class structure can start to familiarize yourself with what we'll be doing. So in each week, you'll have an outline at the start of the week with instructions about what you need to do for that week, including deadlines. For this week, the week of the 22nd, you'll notice one of the things you need to submit is the rest of the group project. So you've submitted a ton of the group project already. The only thing left to submit are the research questions and answers, which are individually scored. Most of you are done with those. If you're not done with them, you were really close to being done with them. So finish those up and get those submitted. And then the second thing that you needed to submit were your group agenda and notes. So the agenda and notes that you've taken over all of your group meetings over the last few weeks. So make sure those are in the final docs folder. I will be grading the whole group project probably in the next week or so once the deadline is passed. And then the last thing for the groups is the peer feedback. The instructions are here on this sheet. You'll see them. And there's a link there. It's a Google form to complete it. You can click right on the link, or you can copy and paste it into your browser. Any of those work. If I had more on here, what you would see is if I kept scrolling, you would see YouTube videos embedded in Blackboard, lectures. I'll try to keep the lectures as short as possible. And then I also will have links to the journal entry for that week or any other submission that you have to submit. So really what these weeks are one-stop shops for everything that you need to consume and anything that you need to submit. The one exception to that is this week, this first week, because the group documents are due on Google Drive. Otherwise, everything else you'll be able to access it through whatever week. I'm going back to the weekly class materials tab now. What you'll see is on Wednesday of every week, the next week's folder will pop up. So on the 25th of March, you'll see that week 11 will pop up and it'll be available. Sorry, my dog is barking right now. She's awesome, I swear. She's barking at probably a moose right now. So you'll see that week 11 pop up, and then Wednesday of week 11, you'll see week 12 pop up, etc., etc. So part of the reason for that is to just keep you on pace, at the pace that I'm expecting and the pace that I think is best for this class. It allows me to get feedback to you before you submit the next assignments, etc. So that's how it's going to work. The last thing I want to address here, because I think that I've covered everything in terms of navigation, it should be really user-friendly. We aren't going to be doing anything like big and new and fancy, because I don't think this is the time to do that, because I know a lot of your classes are moving online right now. All of your classes are moving online right now. So, so we're keeping it as similar as possible. If you have questions, please reach out. I am available via email. I'll also be posting virtual office hours. I'll probably use a Zoom link for that. I haven't decided exactly when those are going to be yet, but coming soon. I promise, and those should be pretty easy for you to access. I know a lot of you are accessing Blackboard via a smartphone. If you can use a computer for some of this stuff, it's a little easier to navigate, but do the best you can. Please make sure, one of the really important things about online classes is that you make sure that you read the instructions, first of all. Please read the instructions. And second, that you are making sure that you're checking regularly and checking on your announcements for the class as well. I try to post all my updates in there, but please, make sure you're reading through those carefully. I'm happy to answer questions, but it's always a good idea to read through the announcement, read through the FAQs first to see if the question has already been answered. And then finally, I mentioned it in the first email I sent out last week on the 14th. I think I sent it 13th, 12th, somewhere in there. I don't know, all these days are running together. I mentioned that if you would like faster updates as we're shifting things over, you can follow me on Instagram. It's prof_o. You can see it's written out in the previous announcement. I know it's weird, but I do think that one of the things that we lose in online communication is some of that connection. And that's one of the cool things about social media, is it allows us to connect with people a little bit quicker in a little bit more authentic way. So if you want to follow me on there and you aren't already, I am trying to be as active as I can. And at the very least, you'll see probably some quality cow content. Okay, I think that's everything for navigating the class. If there's other questions that come up, like I said, please, please, please let me know. And the last thing, I realized that this says it's Monday, Wednesday, 9:45 class. I understand that not all of you watching this will be in that class. It's the same for all of the classes. The deadlines are the same. The navigation's the same. Don't freak out about that. Regardless of what time your class meets, we're following the same structure. Whew, okay. I hope you're all hanging in there, and I look forward to an interesting semester with you.